I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to today's video, which is my autumnal TBR. So I do these seasonal TBRs every season, but full disclosure, I am kind of an epic fail at them, which makes zero sense to me because I am such a goal-oriented person. There are few things as satisfying to me as being able to strike out something on a list or put a tick in a box. It's the Capricorn in me. I am so goal-oriented. I love to be able to do that. So that's why monthly TBRs and readathon TBRs work so well, and yet these seasonal ones that I do, no. As I said, I'm a fail. I think if you look at the winter one I've done, the spring and summer, I'm averaging 40% of the books that I cover, and it boggles the mind so much. I don't understand, but I do enjoy doing them. I do enjoy having the goal ahead of me, so I'm going to keep doing them, but I am going to tweak it a little bit. I think that's what I've decided to do, because all of the other ones I've basically listed 10 to 12 books, and I think that my over-ambitious seasonal TBRs are maybe falling a bit to the wayside, because if you really think about it, I'm putting 10 to 12 books that I need to read over the course of 3 months or so, and that means that I'm averaging 3 and sometimes 4 of those books a month, which when you average, this is a lot of math, but when you typically read 6 to 8 books a month, that's a good chunk of what your reading is, which doesn't leave a lot of time for readathons, which I love to participate in, the book club that I do at work, mood reading, or even things like my 5-star predictions books that I have. So I think what I'm going to do is shrink this list down to 6 books and see how I do with that. Also try to take into account the size of the books, because I'm realizing that is also a problem. I love big books, and so I tend to put them on a lot of TBRs, but there are only so many hours in a day. I cannot read 10,000 pages in a month, so I'm trying to take that into consideration too. We'll see how we do. Basically, this is my long-winded way of saying that I'm going to be talking about 6 books that I want to read this autumn, and why don't we dive right in. So the first 3 books, all come as a set. So I'm going to talk about them together, and they are the last published books to date for the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon. So that is A Breath of Snow and Ashes with its really, really shiny cover, also An Echo in the Bone, and lastly, this guy, Written in My Own Heart's Blood. So these are books 6, 7, and 8 in the series that I want to read. And they're big, as you can see. I mean, I don't think any of these books is under 1,000 pages. I think book number 6, which is the one that I am most intimidated by, is the longest in the series to date. I think so. It's either this one or book 5, which I'm currently reading, takes the award for being the longest book. They're both, I think, over 1,400 pages. So I want to get to these because, as I've been talking about for the last year, I'm trying to read all of the books in the Outlander series before book 9 comes out at the end of November. So I need to get to these. I don't actually know what any of these guys are about. As I've talked about on my channel before, I really have stopped reading the back cover because I do feel like the back covers spoil the books a little bit, because a lot of these books have been out for 20 years. The first book came out 30 years ago. So And because it's a series, it just picks up where it left off, so I haven't really read the back cover because I have a feeling that book 6 is kind of where the show will start to pick up. There might be some stuff in here that I've already seen in the TV show, but definitely not in the other 2 books. So these 3 guys gotta go, especially if I want to get to book 9 when it publishes on November 23rd. But they are huge, as you can see. They are massive. So we're gonna do it. Also, I had tried to get to 3 books in September, which is why this book might look familiar, because it was also on my September TBR. But considering I'm like 400 pages into book 5 right now, and when I'm filming it is September 18th, I have a sneaking suspicion that I won't get to it by the end of the month. So I'll pick up with that soon. But yes, those are the first 3 books, which are huge. Moving along to the next books, which, as I said, I was trying to be mindful of the size of books, because what I just showed you with the Outlander series is probably close to 4,000 pages. Like, that is a lot. It is a lot. And technically, at some point during this same time period, I will need to read book 9. So we're looking at like probably 5,000 pages of Outlander in the next 3 months, which is crazy. I know. But yes, I was trying to keep size in mind and choose some smaller books, but I may not have been successful with this one because I think technically it is also a tome, but I am just addicted to big books. Like, I know this about myself, and it is just something I've come to accept. 9 times out of 10, you put a big book in front of me, and I'm gonna grab for it. Probably a lot sooner than I'm gonna grab for the skinny ones. I don't know what it is. It's just me. But this is all to say that one of the remaining books on this list is not necessarily a skinny book. She's kinda, sorta, a little thick. Not thick relative to the Outlander books, mind you, but thick regardless. And this big wind-up is for Katherine by Anya Seton. And this is a book that I am really excited about, which is why it's worked its way onto this particular TBR, because it is a 5-star prediction for me, and I would like to get to it before the end of the year. But also, I have heard so many good things about Anya Seton as a historical fiction writer. From what I remember, and this is from a little while ago, basically she is well known for these almost biographical novels on historical figures, and people who love historical fiction, like, they have all at some point come into contact with one of her books, because she was writing these, I think this was originally published like in the 50s. Hold on. Yeah, this was published in 1950, so it is an older historical fiction novel. So I'm really excited about this. It's set in the 14th century and is dealing with the Plantagenets, and it's about Catherine Swynford and John of Gaunt, and this like forbidden, like, star-crossed lovers type romance, because apparently Catherine was already married when John of Gaunt met her, and it just sounds like it's going to be this epic love story with knights and the Plantagenets and all that hoopla in the 14th century, and it just sounds really, really interesting, and I do predict that it's going to be a 5-star read for me, so I do want to sink my teeth into it, but it's definitely not on the short side. Like, this is nearly a 600-page book from the look of it, and the writing is kind of small. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of tiny. So it's definitely something that's going to take a little time, but I do want to get to this, because if I do like it, then I would definitely want to pick up other books by Anya Seton. So that's the story behind why a fourth tome has ended up on this autumnal TBR. Also, it does have a cover that kind of screams fall, in my humble opinion. Next, we're moving on to the smaller books on this TBR, thankfully. So the first is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, which is a book that I have been talking about on this channel for, I feel like, ever, considering that I have yet to read it. But I do feel like this is one of these books that I could potentially love from what I know about it, and I know booktubers like Claire Fenby really, really love Virginia Woolf's writing, and this book is a particular favorite of hers, so I am really, really curious about it. And like, I know that it's basically set over the course of a single day, following Clarissa Dalloway as she's like getting ready for a party. It is written in a stream of consciousness, which is why I think this is one of these Marmite books. Like, people who enjoy stream of consciousness love it, and people who don't like that style of writing absolutely hate it. I am one of the rare creatures who doesn't mind it. Like, it is what it is. If a well-written book is written in stream of consciousness, I will probably enjoy it. And if a poorly written book is written in stream of consciousness, I will probably dislike it. So I can go either way, but I do think, again, although this isn't like officially a 5-star prediction for me, it wasn't included in that video, which I'll have linked for you already, I do think that this could become a new favorite of mine, potentially, and similar to Anya Seton, like, if I like this, I would want to pick up other Virginia Woolf books to read in the near future. So, that's the spiel on that one. And the last book is one that I've been chomping at the bit to get to since I bought it on Independent Bookstore Day, which is months ago. But I do feel like this is a book that deserves to be read when the weather is turning, when it's a little bit cold and you can sit by a fire and read and hear the fire crackling and be curled up in a blanket, maybe drinking hot cocoa if you're like me and don't drink tea or coffee and that sort of thing. Like, it's a vibe. But that's what I feel like is the perfect atmosphere for this book. And it is The Last Station by Jay Perini, which is about Leo Tolstoy's final year. And sorry guys, I don't know if this is still in print. I actually bought it used from the Strand bookstore on Indie Bookstore Day. So if it is still available in print, I will put a link for you guys, of course. But there is a movie based on this book with Helen Mirren and also Christopher Plummer as Leo Tolstoy, and James McAvoy is also in it if anyone is interested. And it's one of my favorite movies, which is really funny that I could just easily say that, because I had a exercise at work yesterday where I was supposed to name a favorite movie and couldn't think of anything. I completely forgot my own personality. But The Last Station, the movie, is one of my favorites. It is like this beautifully acted, beautifully performed movie about kind of the romance between Leo Tolstoy and his wife Sophia Tolstoy, who is a particularly interesting character to me. I have a biography on her that I want to read. I also have her diaries that I want to read. And so I'm thinking maybe those two books and this will be part of like a Tolstoyan vlog of some sort in the near future, possibly, so let me know if you'd be interested. Probably you're not, because I'm the nerd who's obsessed with her and you aren't, but that's something that I've been thinking about. But essentially, I'm expecting this book to be very similar in that it's about the marriage between Sophia Tolstoy and Leo Tolstoy and kind of this very tumultuous time period in his final year where Sophia's trying to protect his legacy and make sure it goes to his children, and he has other people basically trying to get him to sign away all the royalties that he'll get from his books after his death and all of this stuff. And the movie makes me ugly sob, so I am hoping the book does the same, because apart from thick books, I find some sort of serious joy from a book that can make me cry. Again, I am a strange creature, but it's the same thing with movies. I love movies that will make me ugly sob. They tend to be my favorite. So, because of my love of Leo Tolstoy and Sophia Tolstoy and Russia in general, this is a book that I really want to get to as well. And I realized that was a very, very sort of tangential discussion of what this book was about. But yes, this is one that I definitely want to get to before the end of the year, because I do think, like, with the weather turning, it's still a little hot now, but like come October, November, it's gonna be like perfect weather for this book. So yeah, those are the 6 books that I want to read this fall. So basically October, November, December. It's still a pretty substantial stack, even with 6 books. I mean, 6 normal-sized books might be doable, but this still seems pretty dang ambitious to me, considering how long it takes me to get through each of those Outlander books. So we'll see. But these are all books that I am genuinely interested in reading. So come the end of the season, hopefully I will have a better stat to report than 40% of these books having been read. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to let me know what books you're excited to read in the next couple of months during the spooky season and all that jazz. And I will see you next time. Bye!